paying attention to the press or your own store shelves for the last few months, you've probably noticed this growing worry about supply chains and goods shortages. Now, of course, leaders have been blaming it all on COVID lockdowns, but the economy in most places reopened months ago. So the shortages only seem to be getting worse is raising a lot of eyebrows. Now, you probably first saw it earlier this year with lumber. At one point this spring, just the increase in lumber prices raised the cost of building a new home by an average of $30,000. Prices have gone down since they peaked in May, but the National Association of Home Builders just warned White House occupant dementia patient Joe Biden that prices will probably surge again this fall and then again next spring. But for now, forget lumber, because now there's shortages in everything. The Atlantic magazine literally calls it the everything shortage in an article just out last week. There aren't enough new cars because they don't have enough computer chips for them, and there aren't enough computer chips for them because there's a shortage of semiconductors. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means that you can't just go repair your old car because there's a months-long backlog for spare parts. In addition to that, no country exports more food than America. Yet right here in the United States, people going to the supermarkets are finding shortages on our shelves. Now, even when you have enough stuff, you don't have enough containers to ship it in. A cargo container big enough to hold 35,000 books, for example, used to cost $2,500 for a shipment. Now it costs $25,000. Suddenly, all those ads you see on Alex Jones for doomsday prepper kits don't seem like such a bad idea. I think I'm going to take part. I'll take part, you take part. Then we'll be laughing all winter long at all these other non-believers while we feast on our 80-gallon barrels of dried beans. But the crisis is global, by the way. In the UK, the government is warning that there's going to be major gas shortages this winter. In China, there's so much demand for shipping containers to the US that ships are returning from America early without loading up with U.S. goods. So whatever it is that America still exports to China is not showing up there. And now our leaders are, of course, taking this whole snarl of supply crises and making it even worse with insane and unneeded, you know it, vax mandates. Truck drivers, longshoremen, pilots, mechanics, ship crew, thousands of them are retiring early or just walking off the job altogether to avoid the jab. The Minnesota Trucking Association thinks that right now, the U.S. has a shortage of 60,000 truck drivers. So you have to ask yourself, is all of this just the product of random chance, incompetence, or could it be malice? Our next guest says that he has some insight on that question. Now, he works at the Port of Los Angeles, which is the absolute nerve center for this supply crisis. There are dozens, hundreds of ships piling up outside of its port, apparently unable to be processed and unloaded in a timely manner. We've seen that footage. We've seen videos of that occurrence. Now, our guest quite reasonably fears for his job, so much so that he's asked us to keep his identity and his company a secret, and we're going to honor that anonymity request. But he says that these shortages are no accident. He says there's been plenty of goods showing up at his port, but someone high up the chain seems determined to keep things running slowly. Now, that LA port whistleblower wrote to the Stu Peters show with tremendous concern. He felt an urgency to make sure that his message is heard, and he joins us now. Sir, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate this. So we see the shortages out here in real America. Why, in short, do you think this is happening? Where's all of the goods?
The goods are actually in the warehouses. There is no shortage. We have actually broken records this year. We've broken records for the last 8 years in a row. This year is the first time that we have ever outproduced Hong Kong. And that's saying something because they are an amazing port and we blew them out the water this year. So
we're being lied to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So are you saying that the shortage is manufactured?
It has to be. There's no explanation because when we're working this hard, getting that much tonnage out, that means it's going somewhere. But if it's not getting to the people, it's stopping somewhere. I think it's stopping at the supply chain, the supply warehouses, because I mean that's the only place it could be.
Okay, so logically, I mean, you just heard me say that there's a shortage of 60,000 estimated truckers in the United States. What about that? I mean, couldn't it just be that there's not enough drivers? They're not showing up?
Nope.
I mean,
that's not true either. There's plenty of truckers coming to the ports every day. That has not changed. It seems like there's more than there was before. So what there isn't is chassis. Chassis are what the containers sit on to get the cargo out. That's what the truckers pull. And I think that they're sitting at the warehouses full of goods and they're not coming back to us.
So the schedule or the frequency with which truckers have normally arrived. Now, how long have you been there?
I've been there over 18 years.
Okay, so in over 18 years, close to 2 decades, you know what the frequency is, what the schedule is for how often truckers show up. That has not decreased?
No, it's increased. It's increased. There's more truckers now than ever before, and they're trying to get the stuff out just as quickly.
So what happens when they show up?
Well, if they show up and they don't have their own chassis to pick up the goods, sometimes they're turned away because they can't provide one for them.
So you outperform Hong Kong for the first time in history.
In history. Yes.
And so the goods are here on our shores.
Yes, we have over 55 container ships sitting in the port right now.
I heard when this whole lumber shortage thing happened, we were sent some video, some aerial footage from a drone showing shipyards just full of lumber. What do you know about that?
The lumber yards were full when that happened too. There's no evidence showing that there was any shortage. We passed by the stuff, we'd see it, and we would ask each other, why are they lying? They're lying to us.
I mean, it's just unfathomable. Now, you text our producer before your appearance here, and you said that you have something that you overheard or that you learned from your executive vice president that we would be interested in hearing. What information is that you have?
That information was about AI, excuse me. The AI is predictive programming that basically Amazon and whatever online programs you're buying stuff from, they predict what we're buying. 20% of all the goods in the largest terminal right now has been there for more than 90 days. And that stuff should have been out, but people didn't need any more because the program was wrong. They couldn't predict what people would want during this pandemic. And it's stuff that people just don't want.
So the marketplace, for example, Bezos, Amazon, uses AI to predict what Stu Peters and fam is going to want during the lockdowns, but the AI programs got it all wrong. And so now everything that they thought I was going to order, my neighbor, my church congregation, the lady down the street, they were wrong. And so now that stuff is just sitting there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they even bought a lot right across from one of the ports, so they were able to get the stuff out and just deal with it later. So, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Vaccine mandates are killing all of this stuff. When you're talking about AI, okay, my brain goes in one direction. It says, these people know, the administration knows that when they mandate this vaccine, that they're going to lose thousands of employees. We talked about longshoremen, we talked about pilots, ship crews, people at the port like yourself. You're going to be given a choice. I mean, you either take this jab or you beat it. They know that, which is when you talk about AI, the question is, are they trying to replace you, the guy who says, I don't want this jab, I'm out of here? Maybe to them, that's a blessing. Okay, good, leave, because we're trying to replace you anyways.
They've been trying to get rid of us for more than a decade. So, yeah, that's absolutely what they want. They don't want us there. They want robots that don't cost insurance, that don't, that comply, that do exactly what they say.
They're going to take every U.S. job that they can and destroy it to replace it with AI and robots. And they're using the vaccine mandates to get people to willfully quit their jobs and then they're punishing those who don't want to take the vaccine by withholding goods and claiming that there is a shortage due to COVID-19, but the fact is the shortage is manufactured. Does that about sum it up? Is that an accurate statement?
Sounds pretty good to me, brother.
Unbelievable. Sir, we appreciate you coming forward. I've got about a minute left here. Is there anything we didn't cover that you want to make sure that everybody knows? I mean, you're there. You're right there in LA at the epicenter. You are at the nerve center of every good that comes in and out of this country. What do you want our people to know? I mean, obviously the media is lying. What do you want them to know?
That your goods are coming through. We push them through. We work hard and we get that stuff to you guys as quickly as possible. If there's anybody saying that it's not getting to you, it's a lie.
Why are the ships, by the way, sitting offshore? Why are they just sitting there? Why aren't they coming in?
They are. We just can't get through them fast enough. There's an abundance, some from when Trump put the taxes on them, on China, and it just got funneled through too quickly. There was too many ships coming at the same time. We're working faster than we ever have in history.
Well, thank you for that work. We appreciate it. And we appreciate you coming forward. God bless you.